Good morning. Welcome to this morning service. We've had a bit of a break. It's good to have be able to be here again in Morgan Hill. This is the first of these services beginning this fall, and hopefully we'll be able to meet in person again at some time in the future. There are actually more people here today than ever before. There are three of us. Julie and Lisa are here as technical personnel, and I'm here just as a person standing in front of everybody. But uh, it's always nice to be here in Morgan Hill. There's kind of a busyness, but at the same time, there's also kind of quite a calm to Morgan Hill. It's always a time for us to kind of think about our relationships, the people who we don't see as often as we'd like to, and yet be mindful of how the precautions that we're taking actually will contribute to the eventual turning around of this pandemic. As we begin today's service, I'll start with Sambujo, followed by the reading of Jusei. So if you would like to join in the reading of both Sambujo and Jusei, please. If you're at home and participating in these services, you just kind of join along. And hopefully you have a service book or a sutra chanting book that you can just follow. And it's like, following along is like being in service. I mean, like being here. You may be doing this an hour, 2 hours, 3 days following the service, but being able to participate at home on together would be kind of nice to be able to do. So let's begin today's service again with the reading of Sambujo, followed by the Jusei. This past week, the Coastal District observed a joint Ohigan service. Unfortunately, we had difficulties with our streaming to YouTube, and so we were unable to view that service. But it will be posted later on, and hopefully you get a chance to see that service. And it was really nice. It took a lot of coordination to bring the guest speaker, to have the ministers chant together. We're doing this again for the Nembusu Family Convention, which is coming up on October the 24th. So please go to the Betsuin website and register well, there'll be information, instructions on how to register for the Nembusu Family Convention. And that family convention, is something that was started many years ago. We're in Hamada, wanted to have a conference when everybody could come together, that we could, all the organizations, all the different groups of people, Dharma School, YBA, that everybody could come together and join for a weekend in activities and services and at for the Coast District. So when it was started, we actually had these conferences at a hotel, and I remember one in particular. It was a project that we were all assigned to do, and so in the evening, as we had dinner together, the projects were kind of presented, and it was. I think we were supposed to do a play, and that kind of showed our appreciation or our understanding of the Nembutsu. And throughout the day, I think one of the things that was being emphasized was Amida's call, that Amida calls to us. We hear that through the Nembutsu, and we respond to the Nembutsu, and that we are included within that, the assurance of Amida Buddha. And in one of the plays that was presented, Richard Uematsu from Watsonville, I think it's Watsonville, he and his group got up on a stage, and part of the group was on one side of the stage and the other was on the other side. And his phone started to ring, and so he answered his phone. He said, "Hello?" Oh, and there was another person on the other side. It's Amida calling, and he handed the phone to the other. I thought that stuck in my mind. Amida's calling by cell phone. Did we have cell phone? I guess we did have cell phone at that time. But it was a wonderful way for everybody to get together. But now we're doing it virtually, and it's not quite as large as it used to be, where we have everybody come together. But October the 24th, again, the Coast District Nembutsu Family Conference will take place, and there's registration, so please plan to attend. There will be workshops, and Michael Jones and I are responsible for one of those workshops. BWA is having their conference at the same time, so they're having workshops as well with speakers that will participate in this conference. So it's although it's all online, it's going to be a kind of an active conference. So hopefully you'll be able to participate. But in that preparation for that conference, there are all these kind of virtual things that have to be prepared prior to the service. And so this afternoon, Mikami Sensei and I will prepare our part of the sutra chanting that will be brought together by Mountain View's tech team with John Arima, and bring all of these voices together and videos together, and we'll be able to lead the service at this conference. And last week at our Ohigan service, similar kinds of preparations were taken, and our guest speaker was Amy Okoye Umezu, Bishop Umezu's daughter, who is a minister assistant at the Los Angeles Buddhist Temple. And we asked Umezu Sensei to speak at our Ohigan service last week. A wonderful presentation, and I do hope that you get the chance to see her, hopefully when it's posted to YouTube, you'll get a chance to hear Umezu Sensei, very young, bright ideas or thoughts about Jodo Shinshu. But her talk, of course, was on Ohigan, because it was a Ohigan Coast District joint Ohigan service. And Ohigan is unique to Japan, Buddhism in Japan. it's not found in other parts of the world, at least as observed the way that we do it. Because it was a ceremony or service that was established by Emperor Shomu in the sixth or seventh century. I can't remember the exact date right now, but his thought. And Shomu was although all Japanese emperors are Shinto because they are descendants of the Shinto gods. The emperor is a Shinto deity. Up until the end of World War II, and I think still within Japanese population, the emperors, although they are no longer rulers of Japan, are still thought of as descendants of the Shinto gods. And Shomu was also, as an emperor, he was thought of as a descendant of the Shinto gods and himself a deity. But he took great interest in Buddhism, and he established a system of temples, or not so much a system, but a kind of in all of the 60 provinces, he established the temples, and the temples were all connected back to Nara, where the original capital of Japan was located before it moved to Kyoto. It was located in Nara, and all of these temples, Buddhist temples. So he built temples and nunneries, is the way that it was described, in all of the provinces of Japan. And all of these Buddhist temples connected back to Nara, where he built Todaiji. So Todaiji is where this huge Buddha statue is housed in this huge building. And apparently it's smaller than it was when it was originally built because of fires resulting from war. The temple was destroyed, but then rebuilt. And it's kind of difficult to comprehend, as large as it is, that it's actually smaller than when it was originally built. But it was such a huge project that he nearly bankrupted Japan. But when they had the opening ceremony of Todaiji, emissaries or representatives from China and India were present. We kind of think of that time of history as very kind of isolated, that we're not connected with the world around us, but there was a lot of cultural exchange and movement among the population. They were already in the time of Shotoku within immigrant populations in Japan. And that's why Shotoku and his friend Soga Omako was asked to take on Buddhism as it was being introduced formally to Japan, because they were already familiar with the immigrant population and the practices that were found in those populations. So they were asked to take on this new religion that was being introduced or offered to Japan as a cultural exchange. But Shomu took this to the next level, and he had these temples built, and he had Todaiji built. But one of the things that he also had introduced was Higan. At the spring and autumn equinox, days were set aside that people could spend time to think about a relationship between Higan, the other shore, and Shigan, this shore, the world of impermanence and the world of enlightenment. So in this time to consider where we are and where we're kind of looking to go toward, and how do we get there? So the sixth paramita is a part of the considerations that we give during this Ohigan time. And it's said that these two particular times were selected because it's a kind of a pleasant time. The days and the nights are equal. It's not too hot, not too cold, and so people can feel more at ease and to kind of look inward and think about being our present life and what we might be able to think about how to get to that Higan, the other shore. And so this, because it was established by Emperor Shomu, it's unique to Japan. It's not found in other parts of the world. And it has been incorporated into our practices in Jodo Shinshu. What's kind of interesting to me, though, not controversial, but interesting to me is that when we think about Ohigan, or the period of Ohigan, and we focus on six paramita, it's practices that we cultivate in order to get to Higan. But in Jodo Shinshu, is that possible? And maybe that might be the purpose for us in Jodo Shinshu, to think about those practices that would need to be cultivated in order to get to the other shore. When we look at ourselves and our abilities and skills, do we have the capacity, ability to cultivate those six perfections that will get us to the other shore? Maybe when we do that, we might think, maybe not so much. maybe as much as I might think I have that ability or skill, when I try to do it, maybe I realize that I'm not able to be as thoroughgoing and consistent in those six paramita. And if that's the case, then it makes sense for it to be in Jodo Shinshu. But sometimes when we look at that, we may focus more on how we are able to, even if a little bit, able to kind of do these six paramita. It's kind of like the Eightfold Path, right? The Eightfold Path, we use them as a means to better ourselves, to improve our behavior. And it kind of, I think, causes us to look away from the benefit that the assurance of Amida Buddha provides. That we are able to, even though we are unable to fulfill the practices of the Eightfold Path or the six paramita, we are still able to get to Higan because of the vow of Amida Buddha, the assurance of Amida Buddha. In the Four Noble Truths, the first describes our condition, the second, the cause of those conditions, the third is an alternative to those conditions, and the fourth is the Eightfold Path, which is the means to move from Shigan to Higan, right? To move from unenlightenment to enlightenment. We often talk about Eightfold Path almost as if it's separate. We say Four Noble Truths and Eightfold Path. But Four Noble Truths contains the Eightfold Path. And the Eightfold Path is an essential part of this understanding of the Four Noble Truths. It's the practice, the means through which we realize the resolution of difficulty. Same thing with the six paramita, moving from Shigan to Higan, this world, this samsara, to the other shore, which represents the world of enlightenment. How do we go from here to there? And in Jodo Shinshu again, it's not what we do. It's not our practice. It's not how I am able to perfect dana or sila or any of these six practices. It's not my fulfillment of or perfection of those practices. It is Amida Buddha that results my movement from unenlightenment to enlightenment. Because I realize my inability to perfect the six perfections, the Eightfold Path, I'm deeply grateful for the assurance of Amida Buddha. Even if I'm unable to even understand or begin to understand, begin to do any of these things, even if I don't hear it at all, I'm assured of the resolution of difficulties as a result of the work of Amida Buddha. When I hear the Nembutsu, when I hear Amida Buddha, when I hear about how I am able to move from Shigan to Higan because of Amida Buddha, I'm changed. Not out there, not the world out there through my practice, none of that. I'm changed. My understanding of myself, the basis of my own imperfections, the basis of my inconsistencies, the difficulties that I experience and cause, that remains. But Amida Buddha assures me, as I am, and through that assurance, I'm changed. I'm no longer trying to get to the other shore. I'm no longer trying to go to the other shore. It is not necessary for me to practice these perfections. Not that we shouldn't live our lives with these ideas in mind. We should not be selfish, and yet we'll find ourselves acting selfishly. Even against our realization of how selfish I am. And I think, okay, next time I'll be less selfish or be more selfless. And I find myself thinking, well, I'm trying to be selfish because, selfless because I'm basically selfish. I want to be selfishly unselfish. It's very complex for me. My brain kind of goes in that direction. But in the midst of all of that, in all of that craziness and topsy-turvy thinking, I'm still assured of the resolution of difficulties. And that's why in Jodo Shinshu, it's Nembutsu's gratitude, right? Not for the stuff we receive, but this assurance that I too am able to, through the assurance of Amida Buddha, through the vow of Amida Buddha, I too am able to resolve those difficulties. And I'm transformed through that understanding. My life has changed, who I am has changed. It is with a sense of gratitude for the assurance of Amida Buddha that I live my life. For all of the inconsistencies and what I still continue to somehow benefit from in this world, I'm deeply grateful. With all the mistakes that I've made, with all the shortcomings and what people have had to put up with, and continue to have to put up with, I am still assured. I used to say, the old ministers used to say, "Sono mama." We used to hear that. Nowadays, I can't say the old ministers used to say "Sono mama" because now I'm the old minister and I'm saying "Sono mama." But as you are, right? The Issei ministers used to say "Sono mama," just as you are. And I used to think, wow, okay, "Sono mama." But the assurance of Amida Buddha is not conditional. You can do whatever you want, but it's because of our inability to truly appreciate the resolution of difficulties and work toward that consistently and thoroughgoing manner. I'm all the more grateful for the assurance of Amida Buddha that provides for the enlightenment of all beings. It is the time of Ohigan. When we think about the other shore, that Ohigan, and where we are in this present life, even that separation, when we really consider it, there's no separation. Shinran in his Shoshinge, it's a line that I discovered, I discovered in Shoshinge. So if anybody tells you this, it was me, I discovered this. But in the Shoshinge is written, Shinran writes, a person of Shinjing realizes that samsara is nirvana. Not that samsara is like nirvana, not nirvana is like samsara. Samsara is nirvana. We experience nirvana as samsara because of our own limitations, because of our own inabilities and the way that we think about and see the world. It's not off in the distance. It's not Ohigan way out there. It's here. It's where we are. There was I think it was Suzuki, not D.T. Suzuki. There's another Suzuki. I forget what his name was, but he wrote he wrote a line, this very earth, this very dirty earth is nirvana. And it took me a long time to kind of really understand that. Not that I can say I fully understand that now, but it's similar to what Shinran is saying in the Shoshinge, that samsara is nirvana. It's not off in the distance somewhere. Nor do we need to row our way to get there. We are already within the world of nirvana. And it is Amida Buddha that assures us of the resolution of difficulties. Sometimes we do good, sometimes not so good. We are inconsistent, not as thoroughgoing as we ourselves might wish to be. But that's okay. That's okay. We live our life with gratitude for the assurance of Amida Buddha, for all that we are able to experience. We are grateful. Today, we are able to come together, participate in this service here in Morgan Hill. And as I think back over the years, coming to this temple, I'm deeply grateful for all of the experiences, all the memories, all of the kinds of things that we were able to do and will be able to do here at Morgan Hill. The sense of gratitude and appreciation deepens as we reflect upon our own limitations and what really truly supports us and provides us the opportunity to live our lives. Okay, longer than expected, went a little bit, I don't know. You can watch this in your spare time. And you can always pause it, go away, come back, or you can skip over too, because you can't do that in the Hondo, right? You can't, sensei getting long, let's skip over. He's still standing there talking. Okay, so you can skip over. Thank you very much. As we close, will you please join Gasho and then Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you, everybody. And again, take a look at the Bitswing website and for instructions about the Nembusu Family Convention that's taking place on October the 24th. So please sign up, participate, and that one you have to be there. Like this service, you can kind of roll out of bed at any time and just turn it on. It'll be virtual, but it'll be happening at the same time. So October the 24th. please sign up for the Nemitsu Family Convention. Thanks again, everybody. See you next time.